Okay, listen, guys. I'll tell you, that was quite the game in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Friday night, the Philadelphia Eagles get the win against the Green Bay Packers. Man, oh man, a lot in that game happened. A lot of good, a lot of really bad. A lot of very shaky play, a lot of gutsy clutch plays. And, I mean, that had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I even thought this game was going to be high scoring. I hit the parlay. I hit the over on the points. I hit, the touchdowns from Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts. I mean, it was a good night for me. So, good fantasy performance, good FanDuel performance, and the Eagles won. So, I'm happy about that. I have to eat crow because I said that the Packers are going to win this game, and they're very close in doing so. But Philadelphia pulled it out, and I am happy to be proven wrong on a night like this. And unfortunately, in this win came the injury to Jordan Love on the Green Bay Packers. And I'm not going to lie, that did not look like a great scene. I'm hoping it's just a ligament stretching, but it looked like something really bad happened in that knee. Looked like a tear. And if so, the Packers are cooked. Like, you got Malik Willis as your backup. Their season's over. And it's a damn shame because Jordan Love, like I said, one of the brighter quarterbacks, at least one of the brighter young stars in the NFL. And the Packers had high hopes for this upcoming season. A lot of people were high on them. And it's a damn shame because Jordan Love is a good player. And we hope that he has a speedy recovery if it's something that is a long-term injury, right? We don't want to wish injury upon anybody. But that is part of football. Those are the type of things that are going to happen. But let's talk about some of the takeaways in this game, okay? The defense looked good at moments. I thought a lot of players showed up and played out very well. Zach Baun in particular had a really, really great night. He was all over the field tonight, made a lot of plays, 15 tackles, 2 sacks, was really, really good. I thought Quinyon Mitchell looked really good. He looks like a player. Some mistakes here or there, but you know what? That's expected to be as a rookie. That's kind of what you were expecting in terms of his first NFL action. Played him on the outside, which was nice. I thought the moment didn't look too big for him, right? Which is good. And then there were times where, Nakobe Dean had a player here or there. Did give up a lot of good chunk yardage, but for the most part played okay. Had some good, had some bad. Same with Jalen Carter, same with Jordan Davis. I thought Josh Sweat played a good game, even though he didn't have a lot of statistical stats or like a statistical game. His impact definitely was felt. So a lot of surprises on defense. And then on the offensive side of things, we'll dive into it later, but Barkley was phenomenal. Like, he was the star of the game, in my opinion. That guy looked incredible in this game. A.J. Brown had the big touchdown coming out of the second half. Big explosive play. Gave Jair Alexander the business after they started talking smack. Devontae Smith had a nice game. When we needed clutch catches, he gave it to us. Jalen Hurts, we'll dive into him a little bit more. Big drive at the end of the game, chewing up 7.5 minutes on the clock to, finish off the game, get the field goal for the go-ahead score, and ultimately was the last point scored in the game. He had a shaky performance, but again, we'll kind of dive into that in just a moment, okay? But before we do that, we say go Birds go, and we introduce the show. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm Asif Badi on a late evening night, okay? I'm really recording this after watching the game, driving from home, and it took me about an hour to get home, but I'm here to do a reaction show. I'm a fan just like you. I am not a reporter, so I'm just giving my reaction to the game and giving my thoughts on how we can improve and get better for the next week because we play Atlanta on Monday night, and that's going to be another shootout, another tough game where we're going to have to really make some plays. And there's some stuff that we saw that we have to clean up. But the point of this show, to open up the discussion here for everybody out there who's an Eagle fan. And if you're down with that and you want to be a part of the discussion, please help me out by hitting the subscribe button, hitting the thumbs up, so that I can get out to all other Eagle fans out there as much as possible, so that you can consume content regarding the birds in the midnight green. Let's break this down. Like I said, Saquon Barkley, star of the damn game, star of the show, star of the Eagles right now. 3 touchdowns, 132 scrimmage yards. Really changed the course of this game for us. And quite frankly, it was for him, it was probably more refreshing to be able to play behind a competent offensive line and being surrounded by immense talent on the outside. Okay? And he got the ball 24 times tonight on the ground. He had another couple of catches, had a really nice catch for a touchdown where Jalen Hurts put it on a rope right between 2 defenders, between McKinney and that corner and that linebacker. I mean, when I saw that play, I was like, oh, damn. That's different. That is different. It was definitely a phenomenal performance by Barkley. And we needed every single yard, every single carry, every single catch that man made in this game. So kudos to him. He was phenomenal. An absolute stud. And listen, I was critical of Harry Roseman paying that man $13 million per year. But if you're telling me I get this guy, if I get this guy, if he gives me this kind of performance, this kind of impact for 17 games on the year, it's worth every damn penny. That was sensational. I don't think I can overstate. I mean, that was a phenomenal performance by Saquon Barkley. Anytime we needed to make a big time play, anytime we needed a score, changing momentum, you had to put the ball in 26's hands or involve him in some capacity on that drive. And whenever 26 touched the ball, really good things happened. It led to good things. So I hope that's one of the takeaways from Kellen Moore in this offense, is that you got to feature Saquon Barkley and really lean on him in this running game from him, Gainwell, Shipley. Lean on this running game, even though, listen, we only averaged 4 yards a carry. We didn't run it efficiently. But damn it, running the ball is not about efficiency per se. It's about mindset. Getting physical, moving the ball forward. You only need 4 yards of play to get first downs every 2 or 3, touches, okay? So Saquon Barkley was phenomenal tonight. Averaged 4.5 yards a carry, had 2 scores, had the receiving touchdown, so 3 touchdowns, like I said, overall. He was sensational. We're going to talk about the defense for now first, and then we'll get back to Jalen Hurts, okay? On the defensive side of things, I'm not going to lie, that first quarter, this defense looked sensational. I mean, that was a surprising performance, especially in that first half, by this Philadelphia Eagle defense. Along any fan, you cannot tell me you were expecting the Philadelphia Eagles, basically from 20 yards in the first quarter, on 2 separate drives, to hold the Green Bay Packers to 6 points. That's incredible, considering what this defense was last season. Absolutely sensational. To me, that won them the game. You holding Green Bay in those 2 drives in the first quarter to 6 points completely changes the momentum in this game. It totally did. It gave enough time for the Eagles offense to start getting a rhythm. And like I said, Josh Sweat was great. Quinyon Mitchell looked awesome. Zach Baun all over the field. Kobe Dean had some flashes here or there. And Reed Blankenship, what a player he is. I know a lot of people gave him shit last season, and he was good, but not great. So everyone thought, oh, we need more safety help. This guy's a fucking player. Excuse my language. But what a player he was in Brazil. And if that's the kind of safety player we're going to get from him, I feel really good about the back end of this defense. The secondary looked not too bad in terms of just being in the right spot and, making timely plays, okay? Now, as far as the yardage goes, that's a Vic Fangio scheme. I don't love it because Green Bay in 27 minutes got 414 yards of offense. Jordan Love, as inconsistent as he was, threw for 260 yards. And not only that, this Green Bay Packers receiving core had like 4 or 5 drops. So that could have been a 300-plus yard performance. We lucked up in that sense that the Packers were more sloppy than the Philadelphia Eagles offense. And again, as surprised as I was by this defense, there are still some things that are really concerning. This run defense in Philadelphia is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and the interior of this defensive unit looked gassed by the fourth quarter. Completely gassed. You held Josh Jacobs, talented runner, basically to what? 20 yards in the first half, maybe a little bit less than that. He ended up finishing the game with 84 yards on 16 carries. 5 yards a carry. The Packers ran the ball 21 times and got 163 yards of offense. That's 8 yards a carry. You cannot be an NFL football team and give up 8 yards a carry and expect to win games. Now listen, we got away with it today, and that's phenomenal. It's great. We got the win, and that's in the end, that's what matters. But we cannot accept that performance by the run defense and by this defense in that sense and think, oh, good job. That's exactly what you're looking for. Hell no. In the NFC, when you have Sean McVay and the Rams, when you got Kyle Shanahan and the Niners, the Detroit Lions with Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson, it can't be a team that gives up that kind of yardage per play on runs. Hell, Atlanta is going to have Bijan Robinson. We're going to have to play them on Monday night. Josh Jacobs and the crew in Green Bay got 8 yards a damn carry. What the hell are teams like San Francisco and Detroit and, Atlanta and teams with other talented running backs? What are they going to do? I'll tell you what. You got to be able to stop the run. We were not able to do that tonight. Enough of the bad on the defense, because I think overall they played better than I thought they would. Lastly, let's go back to the offense and let's talk about Jalen Hurts. There were times tonight where I was in awe of some of the plays he made. Like that throw to Saquon Barkley, for example, on our first touchdown. You could not have thrown a better football than that. Like that is a perfect throw right in that spot, right in the pocket that Saquon Barkley needed to be in. You could not place that any better. On the other hand, though, his first interception, when he just chucked it up into triple coverage to Devontae Smith when we got blitzed, Xavier McKinney jumps the route, picks it off. I have not seen a more stupider throw than that. Until later in the game by Jalen Hurts in the red zone, where he rolls out right, the second pressure comes, and just chucks it. A duck to the end zone. Jair Alexander picks it up. You could have came away with 3 points, and it ends up leading to a Green Bay touchdown. The decision making by Jalen Hurts was suspect at best. Now, listen. In the end, on the last drive, when we needed to get first downs, when we needed to drain clock, Jalen Hurts came through, made clutch plays, clutch throws, got the job done. But let me ask you all this. And as phenomenal as it was that we won the game, and I'm happy we won the game, did this game not feel exactly like the beginning of last season? Tight ball game. Offense looks shaky, sloppy at times. Everything is a grind. Everything is tough. But in the end, we close it out. In the end, we get that one drive that we need to win the game. That's what it looked like last year in the 10-1 start. And what did we say? Oh, gritty win. That's our guy. He's clutch. When you need a play, he's there to make that play. That's a winner. That's a Super Bowl type of quarterback. That's the Super Bowl type team. I did not leave this game thinking that this is a Super Bowl caliber team. I just did not. Now, again, it's the first week against a talented unit in Green Bay in terms of their overall roster construction. Some suspect stuff on defense, because that defense did not look great. But week 1, knocking off the rust, incorporating a new offense. I'll give Jalen Hurts a C+ in this performance. You got the job done. You got the W. That's what we needed. But I'll tell you what. If the decision-making that he continues to display becomes a trend as opposed to a blimp in this offense, we're not winning more than 10 games. He cannot play like that and expect to win big games down the road. It ain't going to happen. Those 2 interceptions, the fumble at the goal line on the tush push, and the fumble, which was a bad snap by Cam Jurgens in our territory that ended up giving Green Bay the possession. You cannot have sloppiness like that. You cannot be paid that kind of money and make those types of throws, make those types of mistakes. Hell, he almost had another interception that could have gone for 6 on an awful decision for a screen. So, yes, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. When we needed the clutch drive, he gave it to us. Hit A.J. Brown on a nice throw, hit Saquon on a nice throw, and was consistently finding Devontae Smith underneath. But my goodness, shaky performance. It's not what you want to see from the $50 million man in Jalen Hurts. He has to play better. And the other thing that I thought was weird, just to kind of finish things off, and then I'll call it a night. Did you look at the interactions on the sideline with Jalen Hurts and our coaching staff? Not one time did you see Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts speak to each other at all. I know we talk about that ESPN article, and it's like a flippant thing that we say, like, oh, the tension between those two, they don't hate each other, but, there was clearly tension. Jalen Hurts does not want any business with Nick Sirianni. To me, that stems for trouble in our Super Bowl aspirations. Clearly loves Kellen Moore. Clearly loves Doug Musnire. Whatever. It's late. Doug Nussmeier, quarterback coach. Did not say a word to Nick Sirianni. And quite frankly, man, that it just bodes trouble. When you have a quarterback who's finally taking the reins, I know it's going to be sloppy. I know it's going to be choppy. It's a learning curve. And I'm not worried about the learning curve per se. I'm more worried about the damn decision making. And every time there was a sign of pressure, the same thing he did last year, try to roll out to the right, and just defaulted to that and tried to make plays that way. Now, I like the fact that he tucked it down a little bit more and ran the ball, but he wasn't necessarily effective. 13 carries, 30 yards. You know, like he wasn't great on the ground. And sometimes he missed some checkdowns. Sometimes he missed reads. And sometimes his decision-making was so horrific where I almost had to throw my phone at the TV screen. Very shaky start for this Philadelphia Eagles unit, and thank goodness we have a long rest period before our next game because there's a lot to unpack in this film, and there's a lot of great takeaways from this game. And hopefully Sirianni, Kellen Moore, and Vic Fangio are going to be able to relay their message clear enough and provide a sense of urgency for this team. And this offense needs to understand you cannot be a team that gets too pass happy. The main takeaway, like I said at the top of the show, Saquon Barkley is a star. If that's the type of player we're going to get, you need to be able to rely on the running backs on this football team. Kellen Moore in this offense needs to run through Saquon Barkley. It needs to run through the running backs. Everything else will fall into place if you can commit to the running game. And we did so in the second half. He carried the ball 20 plus times, ended up winning the ball game. And again, just to summarize it all, there's a lot of work to be done on both sides of the ball. Defensively, some splash plays here or there, some surprising performances, but overall, not a great performance. Too many big plays, horrific tackling. Where the hell was Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith? Our two edge rushers, the guys that we need to get home. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis lost gas at the end of the game. And our secondary, while they had moments and they were opportunistic, gave up a lot of really big chunk plays. And it's not what you want to see. And not only that, giving up fucking 8 yards of carry on the run, it's soft. Vic Fangio is going to rip them a new one come the next film study. And then on the offensive side of things, like I said, Jalen Hurts, you looked shaky, buddy. But if you continue to just run through Saquon Barkley, get him involved on every drive, give him the amount of touches he needs to make an impact, you could win a lot of football games. Because that limits and makes the decision-making easier for Jalen Hurts. When you have an established running game, knowing that you're going to commit to him. And it opens up things for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. So, again, shaky performance, shaky win. Looks a lot like the 2023 season in our early stretch of the year. But I'll take a win against a team like Green Bay. I'll take the win in the NFC, and I'll take a win to start the NFL season. And hopefully, against Atlanta, we could take a lot of these things, fix them, so that when we play on Monday night, we come out and show the type of potential this team can have. Because if our aspiration is Super Bowl, that has to be fixed. Hey, thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.